You know, for most of us, our home is our biggest single investment. At some time, many of us will sell that investment. On today's special edition of the Do-It-Yourself Show, we're going to show you how to prepare your house, how to package it and market it for a quicker, more profitable sale. For just a few $100s and some creative effort on your part, you'll be able to get thousands more. I'm Les Sizzak, and here's how to do it.
The Do-It-Yourself Show is brought to you by Makita Power Tools, manufacturers of quality power tools and accessories for the contractor and the do-it-yourselfer. U-Haul, for your home repairs, rent the tools you need at your U-Haul Center. And by DuPont Certified Stainmaster Carpet.
Now here we are visiting this magnificent model home by one of the country's leading developers. Now why are we visiting a model home? Nobody knows better how to package a home for sale to make it appeal to prospective buyers than the pros. And you're going to get a lot of those good ideas when we go through this place. Now, I know you don't consider your home a model home, but when you've got it up for sale, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. Make it a model home. Now, the program is not about home repairs. We're going to assume that when you've got your home on the market, that all the repairs have been made, that the kitchen is spotless, the bathrooms are sanitized, and everything works just as it should. What the program is about is packaging. How to package your home for the most appeal. How to make people want your home more than someone else's. Now look at these two packages. Both facial tissues. The packages are about the same size and the contents are about the same. But the package on this one looks a lot nicer. It says, "I'm soft, I'm touchable, buy me." This one costs about 30% more and it outsells the other one, simply because it's more appealing to prospective buyers. Now where do we begin to package our house for sale? Well, the first thing we need is an evaluation, and a great way to do that is ask our friends, maybe a dozen of them, and some real estate brokers and what they'd fix up on the inside under the same conditions, and also list the outstanding features of the house as they see it. That way, you'll end up with a good list of things to do to package your house for sale, and also be able to highlight those features which are absolutely your best. Now, this is a very competitive market, and what I would do if I were you is visit other houses, particularly those in your neighborhood that are for sale when they're open, and see what your competition is. See what maybe you can do to your house to make it better than what the competition is. And you'll also see how other people package their house for sale. Now let's go out to the curb and see what the first impression is of a buyer when he comes to your house. First impressions make a big difference. A pair of dark glasses, a cigarette, and a leather jacket with a collar turned up, and I look real tough. Well, those first impressions, same thing applies in selling your house. Look at the beautiful first impression we're getting here. Lovely landscaping, a nice fresh paint job, all the windows are clean. This place looks great. You can do the same thing, you have to do the same thing with your own house when you put it up for sale. Little things like, how does the mailbox look? How about the lamppost? Are those all things looking good? Even something as simple as a political poster in your front yard. Your candidate might not be your prospect's candidate. Got to look out for all those little things. I think any prospective buyer would really be favorably impressed with this simple but elegant entrance. The iron railing and the brickwork really make it look nice, and this beautiful wood door, raised panel, with just a nice touch of brass hardware here, and the nice stained glass window along the edges. The only thing I would add here, if I was going to add anything at all, would be perhaps a plant and a nice brass knocker right here. Let's go and take a look at the inside of the house. Oh yeah. The entryway in this house really gives the buyer the message you're trying to convey. Wide open spaces and a beautiful central feature, the staircase here. Now what do you do in your house, which may not be this elegant, to create the same impression? Well, you can expand the look of the entryway with some mirrors, plants help, all the little feet here can be duplicated to increase the appeal in your house. Now let's look at some other features. Now let's take a look at what the professionals have done to make this room look appealing. The first thing you notice is they've used a really dramatic color, purple. I happen to like it, and it gives this room a great look. They've also used some dramatic accessories. But notice there's no family memorabilia or a strong personal statement here. This room allows almost anyone to see themselves in it, and that's important. And another thing, the furniture has been arranged to allow groups of 4 or 5 people to walk through here unencumbered. It's very easy for them to get through, and that traffic pattern is important. Remember to do that in your house because you're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people walking through at one time. You don't want them to feel crowded. Here in the dining room, they've done a clever thing using these 2 glass-top tables. Visually, they take up no space at all. You can see right through them, and that looks wonderful. And also, the table has been set for a meal, so it really looks appealing. You could sit right down here and enjoy a meal. It looks great. Also, light colors. Light colors are happy, make a room look big, very bright. I really like that idea. Now look at over here. Here is a whole wall covered with a mirror. That does 2 things. It makes this room look enormous in comparison to its actual size, and it also, when everybody looks in there, they can see themselves living in this house. And that's important because you want your prospective buyers to see themselves in your house. Now we're going to visit another house that's got some real problems. Here's another house that's for sale. It's not as dramatic as the one we've just been visiting, but it's got a lot of potential. It just needs that potential developed. It needs to be prepared and packaged for sale. Now the biggest impression is perhaps the first impression when people drive up to the front of your house for a look. What are they going to see when they drive up here? Out here in the gutter, full of leaves, got trash, old cans. That's all got to be cleaned up. Let me show you some other problems. Well, your best chance to sell this house may in your yard. I would suggest you move it away so your prospective. Go look at the front of the house. Well, the closer we get to the front door, the more problems we see. Look at these big patches of dead grass. That looks terrible. That needs to be repaired before you try to sell your house. And how about these bushes? They're falling apart. Something needs to be done with them. And trash on the walk like this is really a turnoff. That has to be changed. And here we've got a paint job that stops short of the bottom of the boards. No good. Well, if everything out front there didn't turn your prospective buyer off, maybe this front entrance will. Now let's check this out for a minute. First of all, this front door is kind of plain and needs a paint job. Could look a lot better. Maybe a brass knocker right there would really look nice. Check the front entrance to your house. Make sure that there's no signs of forced entry. If there is, your buyer might think he's in a high crime area. Also, if you've got 16 locks on the front door, he's going to know he's in a high crime area. Good idea to take the time, put a real nice mat here. That makes the front entrance look good. Now check out the front hallway. This is the first impression they're going to get of the inside of the house. It could look a lot better. Some fresh flowers and a nice carpet on the floor would make this front entrance look a whole lot better. Let's check the living room. Now this room has a wonderful collection of memorabilia and old stuff in it. The trouble is it gives such a strong personal statement that a prospective buyer may not be able to see how they could live in this room. The answer to that is remove some of this stuff and get the room to look a little more neutral. Now one of the problems this particular room has is this area looks unused, unlived in. And something we could do here very easily is put a coffee table in front of this couch, put some nice magazines on it, and then a prospective buyer would be able to more clearly visualize being comfortable and living in this room. Now look at here. Here's the room's biggest asset, is this wonderful fireplace. And it's a good working fireplace, but it doesn't look like it's ever been used. What's the answer here? Well, I think some andirons, some logs, maybe those big fireplace matches and a poker. Then a prospective buyer would be able to see how the fireplace is not only usable, but maybe they could visualize themselves sitting on that wonderful couch with their feet up on the coffee table, a roaring blaze in the fireplace, really show off the room to its best advantage. Nobody wants to live in a house that's got a lot of unpleasant noise in it. Some people might consider that unpleasant noise. Something definitely that's unpleasant is a bunch of kids yapping. If you have children around the house during the time you're showing it, it might be wise to have them go to the neighbor's or a mom's house or something like that. Pets, that's another noise that's very annoying. If you've got pets around, yapping dogs, something like that, try to put them somewhere else just while you're showing the house off. Noisy neighbors and traffic noise, those are other things that can be annoying. Perhaps those can be masked with some pleasant music playing in the house. That would be very nice. An even worse kind of noise is a mechanical sound that really sounds like maybe more trouble coming up. If you've got a noisy furnace fan, for example, That could signal to a prospective buyer that the whole furnace needs a big overhaul, when maybe it's just a couple of drops of oil would save that anxiety. Now look at here, we have a nice transition to the outside and the sliding glass doors, but you can't have an old curtain rod hanging here like this. Either take the curtain rod down and plug the holes, or put a nice curtain here, something that would make it look right. And of course, clean up the outside. You can't have, all this trash on your back porch. It looks terrible. Most people want a formal dining room in their house. Even if they're only going to use it once or twice a year, they want it to be there. And this room is the dining room. The trouble is, it doesn't look like the dining room. It looks more like just a passageway between two other rooms. Now what I would do is I would set the table with, that would really communicate the message. Now here's a typewriter sitting on the dining room chair. If you're going to have a multi-purpose room and you want to show it as such, make it clear, but don't have it kind of sort of a multi-purpose room. I would remove this typewriter from the room altogether. Now here again in the den, the owner's collection of memorabilia makes a very strong statement, and it might make it difficult for a prospective buyer to see how they would live in this room, how they would use it. Here's something else that might create a negative emotional reaction. Remember these guys? It might have a funny feeling for some people. And here's something else that if you're going to have plants, let's water the plants and have them healthy. This one has crispy leaves on it. It says neglect, and that's a message you don't want to send to your prospective buyers. The room itself is not a huge room, but it makes it look smaller because of the dark colors that were used, like the dark wood paneling, a very dark carpet on the floor. So during an open house, you're going to need a lot of artificial light. If your open house happens to fall on a rainy day, try to cancel it, but if you can't, you're going to need a lot of extra light in the house to make it look bright and cheerful, and that'll get your buyer. In this house, the den is an especially warm and attractive room. Anyone would feel good coming in here and sitting down. It really looks nice. And they've done that without any personal statements being made. Now, a very important concept that we've mentioned before is how to identify and highlight the outstanding feature in your room. In this case, it's the fireplace, and it's been done by shining a spotlight right down on it. So when you walk in here, that's the first thing you see. It really hits your eye. Another thing that they've done well is the use of glass from the windows right through the two glass-top tables, which visually make a big impact but don't take up any space at all. Now, at the other end of the den is this beautiful bookcase. This may not look exactly like the bookcase in your house, but you can get some good ideas here. Now, the designer has put an exceptional feature sign here. That's something you can do in your house. If you've identified something that you really want people to look at, put a sign on it that says, hey, look at me, I'm special. Then you may have identified something in your house that's not so hot. Well, don't apologize for it. Just let it fade into the background. Now, the breakfast room looks good. It's all set up for a meal here. It looks like breakfast. And, hey, look what the crew did. Hey, you guys, thanks a lot. My favorite drink is a strawberry daiquiri, and they made me one. A little more lemon next time. Remember, when you're preparing your house for sale, sometimes perception is very important. Well, this kitchen looks great because it's a brand new kitchen, and of course yours isn't. And when you prepare your home, fixing up. Now when you dress your kitchen for that open house, when people are going to tour your house and look it over, a beautiful basket of fresh rolls is a wonderful thing to have in your kitchen when you're showing it off. You also might want to offer some candy, or what some people do is offer prospective buyers when they're touring their house wine and cheese. It just sort of relaxes people, makes them feel good. Now it's the senses that sells your house, and one of the senses that's often overlooked is the sense of smell. And when you walk through a new house, you smell paint, you smell varnish, just a little bit, but it gives you the idea that something's new. Now you can do that in your house. When you, just before the tour, you might want to put a little varnish on something that needs it anyway, and it'll just give that kind of an odor of newness in the house. Another thing you can do is, it's known universally that lemons are a wonderful fresh smell. You can take a lemon like this, cut it up and put it in your garbage disposal, and that smell will fill the kitchen. Or you can use lemon furniture polish all over the house, and it'll give that nice lemony aroma. It really smells good. Another thing that we've done, works very well, is in a saucepan on the stove, put some oranges, put some apples, some cinnamon, some cloves, and just let that simmer while the tour is going on. It smells like some wonderful gourmet applesauce is being cooked up. Something else you might consider, vanilla extract. Put it on the light bulbs, turn the light on, and you get that nice smell of cookies wafting through the house. Or you might, in your oven, put in a fresh pie, let that cook very slowly while the tour is going on. Smells terrific. There's two kinds of sounds that you want to hear when you're looking at a new house. One is silence and the other is soft music. Now, I happen to be a Little Richard fan, but good golly, Miss Molly just doesn't make it when you're selling a house, so we're going to settle for something nice and sweet. When your house is on tour, make sure the temperature inside is very comfortable. Set the thermostat where it feels good to most people. This is a gorgeous swimming pool, and it certainly adds a lot to this house. But before I put one on my own house to sell, I'd think twice. That's a $20,000 pool, and you'd only increase the value of your house by $5,000 or $10,000. A good example of a nice investment to make is this deck. It's inexpensive and adds tremendous value to your house. If you have a one-bathroom house, put a second bathroom on. You'll probably get more than your money back. Same thing with bedrooms. If it's a two-bedroom house, add a third bedroom. That would be a good idea. But if you've already got 3 or 4 bedrooms, don't add another one. The point I'm trying to make is analyze carefully any investment you make in a house you're going to sell. Make sure you're going to really improve the value of your house. Now let's see what we need to do to this kitchen to get it ready to sell. The first thing I would do is scrub everything down and make it sanitary. It's got to look super clean. And the next thing I would do is remove everything possible from the countertops, because you want your prospective buyer to see plenty of space to put out his things. This is the way it might end up looking, but you want him to see lots of wide open spaces. Another thing that older kitchens sometimes have is the appliances start to look a little shabby, or they might have an outdated color like avocado or something like that on them. If they're getting to look a little funky, you can have somebody come in and re-enamel the front of these appliances, and they'll look fresh and clean again. Now let's check under here. We got a couple of problems, as you can see right away. First of all, there's tremendous clutter in here, and it's really dirty. And the other problem is, look at there, a mousetrap. If you've got roach problems, or if you've got mice problems, get the exterminator or do it yourself, but get that problem solved before you put your house on the market. Now we want to accent all the good features of your room, and this is probably one of the best ones. Look at this wonderful broad window right over the kitchen. That's going to draw everyone's attention to this kitchen when they come in and see it. A good thing to do here would be to first clean the windows well so they're really sparkling, and then just outside these windows put a little shelf and some beautiful potted plants with lovely geraniums blooming or something like that. It would really be a knockout. Now once again, here at the breakfast table, I think it would be a good idea to set this table so it looks like breakfast is about to be served. You want them to smell that coffee brewing. And speaking of smells, check this out. That's a doggy door, and doggy doors mean smells. Now, you could live with a dog in your house for years and never be aware of that smell, but the first prospect that walks in the door could knock their socks off. So you've got to be very careful and clean up any kind of funny smells. Cooking odors, smoking, mildew, all are bad news. One of the worst smells could be gas and oil, because that could lead the prospect to believe that there's some serious mechanical problems as well as an unpleasant odor. Now in this bedroom, the thing I noticed right away is, again, dark colors. What I would do is put a very bright spread on this bed, and that would brighten up the whole room. Also, we've got some of the owner's collection of memorabilia here. It's in pieces of furniture. I would take some of those out. Now here is another case of putting things away. We've got a lot of personal items out here on the bureau tops. This is the way you live in a house, but probably not the best way to show a house to its best advantage. Let's look at this closet. Awful lot of stuff in this closet. I think a prospective buyer would take one look here and say, hey, the owner can't get his stuff in. How am I going to get mine in here? I think what I would do is clean a lot of this stuff out, particularly the floor. If the floor of a closet is clean, nothing on it, it looks a lot bigger than if it's all full of stuff like this, as shoes and what have you. Now let's check the bathroom out and see what we're going to do in there. The first thing you notice about this bathroom is the wallpaper. It is screaming at you. But some people would like this, but the majority would not. So I think I would replace this wallpaper with a very neutral color, perhaps a plain pattern or no pattern at all. Another problem we've got here in this bathroom is a leaky faucet. Now, that's a 5-cent washer that went wrong in there. It would take you about 10 minutes to fix it. Spend a couple of dollars on things like fancy towels and some beautiful rugs on the floor. That'll help the bathroom a lot. Remember, this is a really important room. And look back here at the shower. Between the tiles, in the grout lines, mildew is showing. Ugh, nobody's going to like that. You need to clean up the shower. Everything in here has to be very spotless. That will help sell your house. Talk about clutter. This room is cluttered. This is the owner's collection of musical instruments. Now, if a prospective buyer saw this, they would say, hey, I can't get a bed in here. There's not even room for another record player. But you might just want to make excuses for it, or if you can't think of anything else to do, let's give them a little entertainment. How about a number here? I want you to name this tune for me, folks. One, how I love you, how I love you. Now, the perfect color may not sell your house, but too bold a color could turn someone off. They've used purple here, which I personally like, but some people might find it a little too strong. I like the white bedspread, nice and bouncy and light. Here's a good idea you might be able to use in your house. It's a little table in the corner of the bedroom, kind of a little suite area, and people could imagine themselves writing a note here or reading before they go to bed. Now, you'll notice there's no personal items around. The reason for that is you don't want people to feel like they're invading your privacy when they come to look at your bedroom. You want it to be so they could imagine themselves spending the night right here. Now, another thing, people will not go through closed doors as a rule, so keep your bathroom door open. Now, once your house is packaged and ready to go, there's a few things about showing it. First of all, you want to be ready to show it at any time because you never can tell when somebody's going to call up and want to come over right now. When they do come over, try not to hang around and be close to them because a lot of people are intimidated if the owner is right there. They want to be able to talk about the house without you listening into their conversation. Before they come over, air out the house, and if you're going to get any of those nice cooking odors going, start that before they hit the front door. If you're asked questions, be very honest because trustworthiness is really good. Have your records ready and ready to discuss anything that they want to talk about the house if they do ask those questions. Lots of luck to you. The bathroom is very similar to the bedroom. You want it to be inviting to a stranger to come into. You don't want anybody to feel like they're invading your privacy. So most of the personal things get put away and the place has to be scrupulously clean. It's got to be absolutely immaculate. You know, there's a lot of times when you remember spending more money than you should have for something, but if it's something like this, you use it all the time, that's just great. And you know, I'm falling in love with this bathroom, but if you're showing your house off, you probably not better be stuck in the bathtub while the prospects go marching through it. It may not just look right. Hit that jacuzzi one time. Oh, that feels so good. See ya. I hope today's show has given you some great tips on how to sell your house quicker at a greater profit. Remember to see your house as a prospective buyer will be looking at it. It's a consumer product in a very competitive market. I'm Les Sizzak, hoping to see you put one of these on your sign real soon.
The Do-It-Yourself Show is brought to you by Makita Power Tools, manufacturers of quality power tools and accessories for the contractor and the do-it-yourselfer. U-Haul, for your home repairs, rent the tools you need at your U-Haul Center. And by DuPont Certified Stainmaster Carpet.